You had a bad day, maybe a bad week. You didn't plan to spend money, you weren't even thinking about it, but somehow you ended up buying something. Online, in a store, on your phone at midnight while lying in bed staring at the ceiling. And for a moment, it felt better. Then it didn't, and the money was gone. This is not a coincidence. This is not weakness. This is not you failing at adulthood. This is a billion-dollar science that the largest companies in the world have spent decades perfecting. Today, we're going to show you exactly how it works, what triggers it, what it actually costs you, and what to do the moment you feel it starting.
Let's start with the science, because this is not about willpower, this is about biology. When you experience negative emotions, sadness, loneliness, stress, boredom, rejection, your brain does something very specific. It enters a state of seeking. Not seeking food or shelter like our ancestors, seeking relief, seeking control, seeking something, anything that will shift the emotional state. And your brain has learned something very powerful through years of experience. Buying things works, at least temporarily. Here is why. The moment you decide to buy something, before you even complete the purchase, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical released by food, by social connection, by achievement. The anticipation of the purchase is itself a reward. The browsing, the adding to cart, the checkout process. By the time the money is gone, the dopamine hit is already fading. But the emotional pain that started the whole process, it is still there, unchanged, sometimes heavier, now with the added weight of having spent money you didn't plan to spend. This cycle has a name: retail therapy. It sounds harmless. It sounds even beneficial, like actual therapy. It is neither. Retail therapy is a temporary dopamine solution to a permanent emotional need. It addresses the symptom, the discomfort, without touching the cause. And because it never touches the cause returns. And the cycle repeats.
Now here is where it gets darker. You didn't discover retail therapy on your own. You were guided there. The largest companies in the world, retailers, platforms, apps, have known about the connection between negative emotion and spending for decades. They have entire research divisions dedicated to understanding your emotional state, and they use that understanding precisely, deliberately, to increase your spending. Here is how. Every major e-commerce platform tracks not just what you buy, but when you buy it, and the data is consistent across hundreds of millions of users. Spending spikes on Sunday evenings, the loneliest night of the week for most people. Spending spikes after major negative life events, job loss, breakups, family conflict. Spending spikes during winter months, when seasonal mood changes affect hundreds of millions of people simultaneously. They know when you are most vulnerable, and they show up with targeted ads, with personalized recommendations, with limited time offers, precisely in those moments. The notification that arrives at 9 p.m. on a Sunday. The email with a special offer the week after you searched for divorce lawyers. The algorithm that serves you comfort purchases after an hour of doom scrolling. This is not coincidence. This is engineering. And it goes deeper. The platforms themselves are designed to create the emotional state that makes you spend. Social media shows you the highlight reels of others, triggering comparison, inadequacy, loneliness. And then, in the same app, sometimes in the same scroll, offers you the solution. A product, a purchase, a temporary fix for the feeling the platform just created in you. Create the wound, sell the bandage, in one seamless experience.
So what actually triggers emotional spending? Let's name them, because naming them is the first defense. Trigger 1, loneliness. This is the most powerful emotional spending trigger that exists. Studies consistently show that lonely people spend significantly more on products that signal social belonging. Branded items, status symbols, experiences that can be shared or displayed. The purchase is a substitute for connection. It never works, but the brain keeps trying. Trigger 2, loss of control. When life feels chaotic, a difficult boss, an uncertain relationship, health anxiety, financial stress, people spend to reclaim a sense of control. The purchase is one decision you can make and execute completely. In a world that feels uncontrollable, the checkout button is the one thing that responds to you. This is why financial stress, paradoxically, often increases spending.
Trigger 3, boredom. This is the most underestimated trigger. Boredom is not a minor inconvenience. It is a low-grade emotional pain that the brain urgently wants to escape. And the modern shopping experience, infinite scroll, one-click purchase, next-day delivery, has been perfectly engineered to be boredom's most accessible exit. Trigger 4, social comparison.
You see someone's life that looks better than yours. The vacation, the apartment, the relationship, the career. Something contracts in your chest. And then, almost automatically, you start browsing. Not for what they have, for something that makes you feel like you're keeping pace, like you matter too. Trigger 5. Reward and self-punishment simultaneously. After a hard week, you tell yourself you deserve something. This is not irrational. It is deeply human. The problem is when deserving becomes a financial habit, when every hard week ends with a purchase, when the only way you know how to acknowledge your own effort is by spending money.
Let's talk about what this actually costs, not just in money, but in everything else. The financial cost first. Research suggests the average person makes between 2 and 4 emotionally driven purchases per month. Even at conservative estimates, $50 to $100 per emotional purchase, that is $100 to $600 per month. $1,200 to $7,200 per year. Spent not on things you needed or truly wanted. Spent on temporary relief from feelings that returned anyway. Over 10 years, that is potentially $72,000 in emotional spending. Not invested, not saved, not used for experiences that actually build lasting happiness. Spent on the brief chemical relief of the purchase moment. But the financial cost is not even the most important cost. The deeper cost is what emotional spending does to your relationship with your own emotions. Every time you use a purchase to escape a feeling, you teach your brain that feelings are emergencies that need to be escaped. You make yourself less capable of sitting with discomfort, less capable of processing sadness, loneliness, boredom in healthy ways, less emotionally resilient. And emotional resilience, the ability to experience difficult feelings without needing to immediately escape them, is one of the most valuable capacities a human being can develop. It affects every relationship, every career decision, every moment of actual difficulty in your life. Retail therapy doesn't just cost money. It costs you the development of yourself. Here is what actually works. Not willpower, not restriction, not guilt. Strategy 1, the 24-hour rule. When you feel the urge to make an unplanned purchase, especially during a negative emotional state, you do not buy it immediately. You add it to a list. You wait 24 hours. Research consistently shows that the majority of emotionally driven purchase urges disappear within 24 hours without the emotional trigger. The item stops feeling urgent. Often, it stops feeling interesting at all. Strategy 2, name the feeling first. Before you open the shopping app, ask yourself one question. What am I actually feeling right now? Not what do I want to buy, what am I feeling? Lonely, stressed, bored, rejected? Naming the emotion interrupts the automatic behavior. It creates a gap between the feeling and the action, and in that gap, you have a choice. Strategy 3, have a replacement behavior ready. The urge to spend during emotional distress is real and powerful. Suppressing it without replacing it rarely works. You need something else to do with the emotional energy. A walk, a call to someone, a specific playlist, a journal. Something physical, social, or creative that addresses the underlying emotional need without the financial cost. Strategy 4, audit your triggers. For 1 month, every time you make an unplanned purchase, write down what you were feeling before you bought it. Not what you bought, what you felt. At the end of the month, you will have a map of your emotional spending triggers. And a map is power. You cannot defend against what you cannot see. Strategy 5, redesign your environment. Delete shopping apps from your home screen. Unsubscribe from retail emails. Turn off push notifications from e-commerce platforms. Remove saved payment information that makes purchasing frictionless. Add friction to the purchase process. Every second of delay between impulse and purchase is an opportunity for the rational brain to participate in the decision. Here is what nobody told you about emotional spending. Your emotions are not the problem. Sadness is not a malfunction. Loneliness is not weakness. Boredom is not a character flaw. These are real human experiences that deserve real human responses. Rest, connection, creativity, conversation, movement. The problem is not that you feel things. The problem is that an entire industry has positioned itself between you and your feelings, offering a purchase as the answer to every emotional question. They are not wrong that it works temporarily. They are not wrong that it feels good in the moment. They are just not interested in what happens after the moment. That is your problem, not theirs. Your emotions deserve better than a shopping cart, and your money deserves better than being the price of temporary relief from feelings that a phone call, a walk, or a good night's sleep would have resolved for free. The next time you feel it starting, the bad day, the restless evening, the midnight browsing, you'll know what it is. Name it. Wait. Choose differently. Your future self is counting on you to do that.